West, Gregory Nicholls.
People,
come, son.
what I want was say, Michael
Come, son.
Northwest. Gregory! All right, I hear you. Brandon, people suffering. Any farm, high cost of living. President, one representing. Black Rock, people in working. All through St. Michael Northwest. People protest.
Good night, Barbados Labour Party. How are you feeling? I am still on top of the world. I want to begin by thanking Mark Williams, who has been a tremendous source of inspiration to me as a young candidate in the Barbados Labour Party. Mark is right. 1999 is coming again. And 2 days before the election in 1999, the people of Grenada went to the polls. And I am sure that when the results come back from the election in Grenada, just before ours, you will be saying the same thing. I stand tonight before you as a fully fledged candidate of the Barbados Labour Party, having been nominated yesterday. And it was, in many respects, a very humbling and touching experience because I have been around politics for a little while, and I have never seen what happened at Ellerslie yesterday occur before. Never in my wildest dreams could I have imagined that response. Because when we said we would support each other in the Northern St. Michael constituencies, I was going to Joe, then we were supposed to go to Ian Gooding, Edgell, and then they would come to support me at 11 o'clock. But we had a hiccup because the songman decided that he had another job to do, and we suspect that he was bought out. So I had to say to my supporters and those from Joe's constituency who gathered at Carlton Club, and Ian's as well, let us not be dismayed. Let us go forward to this nomination as one people, from one party, united as one. And when we got to Ellerslie School, we walked down the gap. We were at first assaulted and abused by some of the few people who went there before us on behalf of the Democratic Labour Party. They cursed my proposer, Horace Bailey, for parking his van in the public road. But we were able to tell our people, listen, we are a disciplined people. We are focused on the task ahead. And we went forward. And when we were walking into the school, I could not have anticipated when the guard rolled back the gate that the students would applaud. And I said tonight, on my own behalf in Cave Hill, that those students at Ellerslie School understand that their parents sent them to school yesterday knowing that there was a choice between sending them to school and paying a light bill. Those students understand the driver of MC 329, MA 3693, and S 1457 are asked to move your cars, and let us do so in an orderly way. We are blocking the road and blocking entrances to people's homes. As I was saying, those students understand that there is a stark difference between what they experienced in their lives before the Democratic Labour Party came to office. We did not have to orchestrate students to come and take away our banners and placards and carry them to the third floor of LSE and sing BLP. That was a spontaneous reaction of the young people of this country. And you know the Bible tells you a little child shall lead them. And children don't tell lies. Young people in this country understand that there is a different Barbados today than that which obtained under the Barbados Labour Party. And I said to you at the start of this campaign, we have an indifferent government being led by an indifferent prime minister with ministers who don't speak to each other, ministers who don't get along, and there is no concerted effort being displayed by anything that the government does to show that they have sat down and deliberated over the significant issues that face this country. All across Barbados, people are saying the same thing. And in 2008, when Mia Motley became the opposition leader, we started a radio program on the Voice of Barbados, BLP Speaks. And I had the good fortune of delivering that message on behalf of our party when it was first conceptualized for the first year or two. Because Mia felt that the younger generation of the Barbados Labour Party should have a voice in this country. And I took great pride in working with her and Henderson Bovell to put that message across. And throughout the first year and a half, we came to the same conclusion week after week. We have a government that does not know what it is doing. They're like Christopher Columbus, who when he set out didn't know where he was going, didn't know how to get there, and when he got there, he didn't know where he had arrived. They were in opposition for 14 years. And David Thompson, God rest his soul, has been able to submerge to the top of the Democratic Labour Party and so disgrace that institution, which was always a formidable institution for us, intellectually that is, by dumbing down politics in Barbados to one of smoke and mirrors. You can tell a big lie to discredit your opponents, and if you catch the people napping, they will believe it. David Thompson has never mentioned in his political philosophy the word development and making a meaningful transformation in the lives of ordinary people so that they can give to their children more than their parents had given them. The philosophy of the Democratic Labour Party under David Thompson has now manifested itself where we are engulfed as a society, a small open economy in Barbados, without a roadmap to navigate in these most challenging of circumstances. So we have a government that will come to you after 5 years and months telling you about free bus fares, telling you about summer camps, and constituency councils and political football. Like if any of the aforementioned concepts that they have brought can meaningfully relate to the challenges you face in running your family on a daily basis. So that they feel that you must give the people a couple of free things, get them excited, and therefore you are a good government. That worked before. Can work now. And I said to you that the Democratic Labour Party has not learned or forgotten anything in the last 50 years in politics in Barbados. When we spoke to you about the global environment changing in a fundamental way, David Thompson dismissed it as mumbo jumbo. When Clyde Maskell spoke to you about different ways in which we must look at the Barbados economy, they dismissed Clyde as a theorist. He's not a politician. But I say to you tonight, this country has to grapple with challenges that Errol Barrow could not have envisaged. And a political institution that takes its navel string as the coil to wrap around itself long after it has passed its age of maturity is subjecting its people to a failure. And why do I say that? There is nothing that the Democratic Labour Party has brought to you that can advance your circumstances on a daily basis. Nothing. Everything that they have done has turned to junk. The IMF has said that their medium-term fiscal strategy and the policies of the government are fanciful. We have been downgraded to junk, and they blame the international environment for that. But no country in the Caribbean has had their credit rating downgraded to junk. So that we have an international reputation right now of being one that is considered as worthless. So Barbados must now slug through an international recession with a do-little, do-nothing government, which has now brought our name and reputation to its lowest point in history since independence. We come to you tonight and throughout the first phase of this campaign to ask you whether you want to have the Democratic Labour Party as your government anymore. You have made a conscious decision to come to listen to what we have had to say. But I want to encourage you, we are not on trial in the Barbados Labour Party. And next week when we unveil our manifesto, you will see the stark contrast even more exposed between the two political parties in Barbados. We do not believe that there are challenges to the Barbadian society and economy that we cannot face and fix. We do not believe that there are few opportunities for this country to develop. So despite the international recession and bad climate, we believe that if you work hard as a team to make ordinary people's lives better, that some effort would redound to people's benefit. You have in this constituency a young man who I met over 10 years ago in Ian Gooden-Edgell. He and I have sat down together in the Senate representing our great party. And we forged a relationship over the course of us both serving in the Senate. We shared many ideas about where this country can go. We did not always agree on our approach, but we were able to converse and develop a bond and a relationship. And fate would have it that Ian and I now share common electoral boundaries across communities. And I say to you, we will develop this part of Black Rock as one community because we have a shared commitment to making opportunities available for ordinary people like opportunities have been made available for us. I have said to Ian, let us look at developing the sporting and cultural sectors in the Black Rock community. I have spoken to Ian, and we have agreed that just like Old Town and Oistins can have their own annual festivities and St. Philip can have their carnival, the people of Black Rock, who are part of this country too, that has produced sportsmen and women and entertainers of distinction nationally and internationally, should celebrate that talent. Because when you see our manifesto next week, you will see a platform for the development of our creative and cultural industries and sectors. Not fanciful gimmicks, not blandishments or false promises. You will see legislation aimed at giving support to our young people to create a path where to progress. And for those of you who have journeyed here with me tonight from our meeting at Carefield, you must forgive me if I tell the people at Black Rock what I said just now. The Right Excellent Arabara is on record in this country as saying that he would like to see the day where there was never a cane blade in Barbados. He perhaps was very right in saying so. But the truth is that the Democratic Labour Party has never done anything to fulfill that vision of Arabara. And in their two opportunities at the crease, 1986 to 94 and 2008 till now, the Democratic Labour Party has not brought any new economic sectors to this country for consideration. And that is the truth. And for those of you in the crowd old enough to remember the debate against the international financial services sector, they claimed that we were trying to encourage a lot of people in fancy suits and suitcases of money to fly in and out of the country. When Tom Adams envisioned the highway, if you read the debate, there were allegations that we were providing an opportunity for people to come and land like airplanes and bring drugs in the country to poison your children. That kind of nonsense permeated at the very heart of the Democratic Labour Party. And they have not been able, since they have brought the model of free education to Barbados universally, at the secondary level that is, to conceive of an idea that would transform us from working in the people cane fields. And I want you to understand and appreciate that the Crop Overs Festival, and when you see the artists all coming out and bringing more political messages in this election than that they have ever done in the history of politics in Barbados, you begin to understand that the creative cultural sector that the Barbados Labour Party, through work like, well, I must give Tom Adams the credit for creating the NCF and Louis Tull for being our first Minister of Culture. But when you compare what Mayor Motley did to transform that sector as a Minister of Culture from 1994 until 2001, you will begin to understand the retardation of that sector under the Democratic Labour Party. Can't get crop over run. Cannot. Can't get cavalcades organized. In order to hold effect in Barbados, you gotta got town planning permission. And a whole set of bureaucratic hurdles that ordinary people must undergo long in advance in order to meet the requirements of the law. While the Cultural Industries Bill, which we left in draft, continues to lay fallow. So while the grass is growing, the horse starves. So if you want to understand why Crime Son and Kid Sight and Little Rick and Peter Ram, all of the artists have said, look, we cannot take the Dems anymore. They know that things dread. You got to get rid of these people out of office. Now, I will confess that the idea of a Black Rock Festival to celebrate the creative talent in the constituency is not my idea. It is an idea that Kid Sight, who wrote my campaign song, has had in his head for a long time and has been given every runaround by the Democratic Labour Party while in office. We have a plan to create the opportunity for young entertainers in this country who would not get the opportunity to go into a record studio to come and compete for open mic competition. And let us create a Barbadian reggae industry. Just like how under the Barbados Labour Party, the ragga soca and sweet soca industry evolved. And we create the most calypsos of that genre in the world. Let us harness the talents of our young people. Give them the support that is necessary at the level of the state. Give them a pride of place at national festivals so that our people become more appreciative of what they are producing. Give them an opportunity to make a living. And the Barbados Labour Party is not interested in political triumphalism. We said to the University of the West Indies when we were in office, don't only develop the academic talents of the students at KFIL, develop the creative, cultural aspects of what they can produce. I went to KFIL, and you might not know, and from my croaky voice, I sang in KFIL Chorale at KFIL, and sang well too. We said to Professor Beckles, take the land and develop a cultural center at KFIL so that you will not have to be in a lecture theater to develop your cultural industry at the university level. And we allow the university to put Barra's name on it. You might say it should not be there. But the Barbados Labour Party is not about putting the party first. Our slogan is making a better life for all of our people and not a better life for BLP supporters. You will never hear from this platform the politics of the fatted calf, that those who support the DLP will share and those who do not support it will get nothing. That is not what the Barbados Labour Party has been about. And I want to say to you that our approach to the development of the creative cultural sector has been a great contrast between what we have got from the Democratic Labour Party while they have been in office. We have put in place a sports and arts fund where the proceeds from the lotteries have gone in. And we left that fund flush with cash. But you know what? When the Democratic Labour Party came to office in 2008, the first withdrawal from that cultural fund was to pay a debt left by the Barbados Football Association to Kensington Oval, where World Cup football went to Kensington Oval, and all the money that FIFA gave the Barbados Football Association, they refused to pay the government of Barbados for renting Kensington for 2 international football matches. So what did Jones do? They went to the Ministry of Sports and lick up the Arts and Cultural Fund, which has been funding DLP political football in this country, not developing the sports and cultural talents of our people. So when you see the Democratic Labour Party take up the catastrophe fund and plunk it into the UDC and the RDC to do construction and repairs of houses, you understand that this is a government that has no developmental roadmap before it. The government is broke. They need money to fund UDC and RDC, so they will go into an election looking like they have done things for poor people. So they take the catastrophe fund, the fund that has been building up while we have been spared by the Almighty from a natural disaster, and to lick it out in an election campaign. May God only spare us again. Everything that we have done well, this Democratic Labour Party has been intent to destroy and mash up and turn around just to make sure that they can promote the name of the Democratic Labour Party above the interests of people. Now, I have no problem if they cannot find money for Thomas victims or people who are struggling, but leave the catastrophe fund alone. It is not put there for you to use as an election campaign piggy bank. It is put there by the people of this country. And a government should be responsible enough to manage that fund. And all of the funds that the Barbados Labour Party have put in place as development planks to support this society for the purposes for which they have been intended. So that the political machinery of the Democratic Labour Party is always in play every time they make a decision. And you cannot have short or selective memories at this time when you have to make up your minds about, and listen to what I'm saying, about convincing those who are on the fence about how they will vote. Because from your color, you can see tonight, your minds are made up. We voting? I can't hear you. But they got some who are on the fence and who are convinced. Man, you got to give a government a chance. You can't do everything in 5 years. But I say to you, if this is the Dems now, can you take the Dems again? We will be the collective laughing stock of the Caribbean and the world. People want to know if Beijing's gone mad. All across the world, they train out governments after one term because if they ain't satisfied with what you get, they turn it back in. And then on your first opportunity to carry back in your chits, you can say, well, no, I can try with these again. You got a bad hand, what you do with it? You throw it where? I want you to pelt the Democratic Labour Party back in the pot and give yourself an opportunity. You're using red chits? You don't want the yellow ones no more? Give yourself an opportunity. You cannot afford Fumble and Chris and James Paul and Kenny Bess or worse and Todd and all. I can't call him that. No, I can't call it that. I know that when he was on campus, I know when Patrick Todd was on campus, I think, if I can remember correctly, Todd went to campus the year I did my common entrance and graduated the same year as me. I think that is a fact. But we can't afford these people again. You have in this constituency a man like James Paul, who treats himself as the person who knows most about agriculture, but the government ain't want him. So if Fumble and the Democratic Labour Party does not want him near a ministry, why should you want James Paul near this seat? You have a young man by the name of Ian Gooding Edgell, who in 2003 walked up the steps of Parliament and turn right to go to the Senate. I want you to let him walk up the steps, just like the people of St. Michael Northwest will allow me to walk up the steps and turn to our left and go and represent the people in the name of the Barbados Labour Party. Good night, and may God bless you all.